Do you happen to know how this video was recorded?
Objection.
Or from what camera? You're right, it's a vague question. From what camera this video was recorded?
Objection. Relevant.
Overruled.
This was recorded from the City of Washington Police Department squad camera.
For your squad car?
For the squad car that was operating that night, yes.
Okay. Move to admit number 17 and permission to publish.
Objection. Actually, it's 4 seconds that was played, and we still aren't clear of the relevancy of this video.
Your objections are noted. The foundation has been laid. It's relevant. Overruled. Exhibit 17 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
All right, we're going to put it up. Before we play it, I'm just going to have you set the scene here. That's a touch screen in front of you, sir. Can you circle yourself in the video? All right, and next to you, it looks like there's a person in a yellow vest that reads police. Is that correct?
Objection. We're referring to the officer giving testimony, not the officer that's present with them.
Overruled.
Yes, that is correct.
Who is that officer?
That'll be Officer Schneider.
Okay. And what's the crossroad here again, if you could just remind us?
Objection.
Relevant. We'll start on the south side of the street.
The objections noted. It's overruled. He may answer.
On the south side of the street where the squad is parked, that is going to be Northeast Avenue.
Okay. And on the north side of the street?
I believe that'll be Buckley Street.
Okay. So can you erase, you can clear the screen, please? Oh, clerk did it, thank you. Just kind of draw a line or point out where Buckley Street is. It's a little hard to see exactly at this moment, correct?
Correct.
You could just show okay. And as this video plays, you can see Buckley Street a little clearer as the people move, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, please clear, thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and play this in its duration. It's 37 seconds in length. There you go.
Correct.
All right, Officer Butron, again, it's not a 100% clear shot, but you can see you making your way around the front of that white pickup truck, correct?
Correct.
That was one of the entries in the parade?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And then you kind of go out of view behind that white pickup truck, correct?
That is correct.
Is that the area where you encountered Mr. Brooks in the SUV?
Objection. I do not identify by that name, nor do I consent to it.
Your objections noted. It's overruled.
That is where I had initially placed my hand out in front of me and advising the vehicle to stop.
Okay. How far down that parade route did you run, sir?
I made it all the way down to there's a tattoo parlor, I believe the address is in the 400 block of West Main Street, so almost all the way down Main Street till it makes the curve and ends.
Okay. And you were not able to catch up to the SUV, correct?
No.
But again, as you've previously testified, the SUV had not stopped anywhere along that route, correct?
Objection. I already asked this question, and it was answered already.
It's foundational, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Correct. I never observed the vehicle stop at any point that I was making my way down the route.
As you were running down the route, did you encounter people who had been struck and injured?
Objection. Already asked question.
Overruled.
Yes, I did.
What do you remember about that, sir?
There were multiple casualties on both sides of the road. varying degrees of injuries to people. The only way to describe it is just pure chaos. There was people pulling at me in multiple directions trying to help people.
Did you attempt to render first aid to some people?
Initially from the area of Barstow to the area of about Clinton Street. There was still an active threat of the vehicle, so I continued to chase after that vehicle to stop the threat. And then when I made my way to Clinton Street and westbound from there, began to render aid.
Okay. Some point much later in the night, are you aware that the vehicle that was suspected to have been involved in this incident was found on Maple Street, sir?
Yes.
Did you go to that area?
Yes, I did.
Did you take a look around the area where the vehicle was located?
Yes, I did.
Were you able to determine, well, strike that. Do you remember where the vehicle was parked?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled.
I do not recall the address in which it was parked, but I do know the position of where the vehicle was parked, yes.
Could you just briefly describe how the vehicle was parked?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled.
The vehicle was backed into a driveway at a residence on Maple Street.
You can pretty much tell when he's gonna object at this point.
And do you
Like I just expect it.
remember looking around the area where the vehicle had traveled near the residence on Maple Street?
Yes.
Do you remember finding a hat at that location?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled.
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna ask for Exhibit 92 to be previewed for the witness, please. Is 92 up, sir?
Yes, it
Now
is.
I heard about
Do you
this.
remember seeing?
I heard that okay, so he ditched his vehicle and so he ditched the vehicle somewhere, fled, and then he ended up at some guy's house. And I'm not sure if I reacted to this on the channel or not, but I saw a piece of that guy's testimony. The dude whose doorbell camera basically caught all the footage of Darrell being arrested. So I do remember that much.
That item?
But okay, so he's the one
Yes, I
that
do.
discovered the hat.
Do you believe this picture is a true and accurate
And there was a hoodie or
representation
something
of
somewhere that was
the
found,
hat
too.
that you observed in the backyard?
Yes, I do.
Move to admit 92 on permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection hearsay. How can we know for sure that that hat wasn't by somebody that lives in the building?
Mr. Brooks, you can't testify. You're attempting to do that. I'll instruct you not to. Your objection is overruled. And Exhibit 19.
Yeah, he actually showed the smallest bit of self-control right there. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he wanted to like cut in so bad when she was talking. Look at this face. That's probably gonna be my thumbnail. But he wants to cut her off so bad, actually. You know, I always let y'all see when I capture the thumbnail, so just gonna get that. But yeah, he wanted to jump in so bad and just like cut her off and say something rude.
Your objection is overruled.
I can't believe he didn't.
And Exhibit 19 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
I'm sorry, it's 92, Your Honor.
Oh, 92. Thank you. Exhibit 92.
You remember seeing that hat in the backyard area, sir?
Yes, I do.
Irrelevant.
In fact, you remember asking the people at the residence if any of them own that hat?
There was one male that came out that had taken a picture and asked the rest of the residents at that location if it was any of theirs.
And did it belong to anyone at the residence?
They indicated that it did not.
Officer Buttrin, the videos that we saw, exhibits 16 and 17, I asked you about that side road on the north side of the street, north side of Main Street, Buckley Street, correct?
That is correct.
Were there any barricades at that location, sir?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, there were, if I remember correctly, I believe there were 3 barricades.
And did they fully block the roadway at that location?
Yes.
If Mr. Brooks had wanted to leave the parade route, would he have been able to get out at that location?
Objection. I do not consent to that name, or nor do I know any individual by that name.
Your objection's noted. You may answer the question.
Yes, it would have been a reasonable exit point.
Would there have been anything other than those plastic barricades that would have blocked his exit from the parade at that spot?
Objection. Hearsay.
It's not hearsay, it's overruled. You may answer.
No, the only thing that would have been struck was the plastic barricade.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions, sir.
You may ask this witness questions, Mr. Brooks.
Oh no, the worst part. Okay. The part that I'm never looking forward to. Let's go ahead and get it.
Yes.
Just get it started. Just gonna steamroll through this.
Officer, is it Butchering?
Correct.
Good morning, officer. You stated that you had got, or you heard a radio call about a knife fight in Frame Park.
That is correct.
Did you ever at any time follow up or go to Frame Park to investigate the said knife fight?
No, I did not.
Did you learn any initial information about the said fight?
No, I did not.
I just got a hunch, and this is just a guess. I think he's going to, at some point, ask if he's getting paid by the prosecution. Because, you know, a lot of you notice as well, but it seems like with a lot of the officers that come up here, he's trying to insinuate that they're being paid to do what they're doing, to testify. So,
Do you know who
I'm just putting that out right now. I
reported
think he's going to do it.
the knife fight?
No, I do not.
So you also stated that you heard the vehicle that was approaching honking its horn multiple times. Is that correct?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, what would be a reason that someone operating a motor vehicle will honk their horn?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. You may answer.
There are multiple reasons why a vehicle would do that.
Can you give any specific reason?
To alert people or vehicles in the area that there's a vehicle coming.
And you also stated that
I talked in the last video, I talked about how that argument makes no sense and why, like, I don't even understand why he's trying to make that a core point. Well, I can't even say it's one of the core points because he tries to go with a bunch of different things, but I don't know why he's trying to latch onto this
you
as
didn't
well,
see anyone
because it's just not, it's not a good
struck when while the vehicle was approaching you?
Between the area that I observed the vehicle and Northwest Barstow Street, I did not see anybody struck, no.
Would it be fair to say that you also didn't see the vehicle target anyone?
Objection, speculation.
Calls for speculation on the part of the witness. So it's sustained. You can rephrase your question.
Did
The
you
way it was
see?
asked calls for speculation.
while the vehicle was approaching you, you stated that you saw it maybe 200 feet away, I think is what you said. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Did you see the vehicle actively targeting anyone to strike them?
Same objection.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
What would you estimate the population was right at what was shown on the video? Was it hundreds of people, dozens of people, right in the general area that you were?
I would estimate there's probably several hundred people in that area.
And you saw no one struck?
Objection vague.
Can you rephrase, please, just to be specific?
Out of the hundreds of people that were in your general area, you didn't witness anyone being struck by the vehicle?
Not initially.
You also stated that there were barricades in the general area that you were?
Yes.
Were they off to the side? Were they in front of you? Where were the barricades located?
They would have been located on Buckley Street and on Northeast Avenue.
Would it be fair to say that those were the side streets coming into the main street?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that a vehicle that was on the parade route would have to go down one of those side streets that was barricaded off to exit the parade route?
Yes.
Even still, okay, I know I keep pausing, and I'm pausing like really early on in the video, but that's still an argument that doesn't make any sense either. Because once again, it was one of the officers, or it might have been Detective Casey, someone said that if he would have stopped, an officer could have came and like guided him out of the parade route. So they could have opened the barricade for one of those side streets, and then he could have, you know, gotten out of the way. But he deliberately sped through the route. So that's why this doesn't make any sense, what he's saying either. Because I don't know about you, but like if I'm driving and like I'm near the route, I'm stopping right away and I'm like, okay, we need to look at some alternative ways to get out of here. Like, the last thing that would pop into my head is like, let me just speed through. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
And
it shows a lack of value for human life. If you're just like, I'm just gonna go for it, whatever.
Perspective, with a vehicle that was on a parade route know that they can exit from those areas that were barricaded?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
They would know they can't speed through the middle of it.
Were you injured in any way by the vehicle?
He didn't even get a chance to answer. Or they might have objected. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
And in the video was pretty short video. Would it be fair to say that the vehicle passed you relatively quickly?
Yes.
And you were able to get a look at the operator of the vehicle as quickly as it passed you?
Yes.
Did you notice any tinting to any of the windows on the vehicle?
No.
So you were able to see inside of the vehicle pretty clearly?
Yes.
Did you get a description of what the operator of the vehicle was wearing?
Yes.
You stated that the operator of the vehicle was wearing a hat. Would that be fair to say?
The operator of the vehicle appeared to be wearing a hat or have their hood up.
If you got a clear description of the operator of the vehicle, wouldn't you know if it was a hat or a hood?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
I mean, if you're
Sustained,
in a
rephrase your
moving
question.
vehicle, how would he just know?
Would it
that?
have been, would the vehicle had been moving too fast for you to clearly see if the driver had anything on their head?
No.
About how fast would you estimate that the vehicle was traveling when it passed you?
Approximately 25 miles per hour.
About how fast would you estimate the vehicle was traveling when it was approaching you?
Approximately 25 miles per hour.
Were you able to hear the vehicle honking before it approached you or when it came upon you?
I was able to hear the vehicle honking before it approached me.
Did you hear the vehicle honk after it had passed you or came in contact with you?
No, I did not.
Would it be fair to say that the video shows that you can clearly let me rephrase that. Would it be fair to say that the video that was shown, you can clearly hear the vehicle honking?
No.
Can we play the video again for the witness?
You want it? Which one? Which video?
Exhibit 17.
The squad video? That's the one you're requesting, the squad video?
Exhibit 17.
All right, permission
Whatever
to
is
publish
exhibit.
and show is granted.
Let me listen close because I didn't hear any honking either. I do not like seeing this. Look at all those little kids, bro. This is this is messed up.
Pause it right there. So at the time, we see you running over to where this white, I think that's a pickup truck. Is that you?
Yes.
At that time, had you heard the vehicle honking?
I don't recall.
What prompted you to move so quickly to jog towards the area that you were jogging to?
The radio traffic that I had heard.
So at that time, did you see a vehicle approaching? Wait, I still want to play that. At that time, did you see a vehicle approaching?
From my position here, I don't know exactly when I had observed the vehicle.
Continue playing.
That is just
Pause right
crazy,
there.
man.
Would it be fair to say that that was
He's going
not
like,
just a horn that was heard honking after the vehicle was passed?
hold on, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything.
Pause right there.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Would it be fair to say that that was not just a horn that was heard honking after the vehicle was past you?
I did not hear a horn, no.
Wind it back.
For the record, Your Honor, the first time Mr. Brooks asked for
There
the
was no
video
horn.
to be paused, it was 22 seconds. The second time, it was about 39 seconds. We're now going back to about the 30-second mark.
Objection, there isn't 39 seconds in the video. It stops at 37, so how could it be 39?
I'm sorry. You're absolutely right, sir. 29. I thought you said 39.
Oh, the time was wrong.
I can hear-
Okay.
I can hear
He loves to hear somebody say that he's right, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
You can't testify, so you can ask a question of this
Using their
witness, we'll
evidence.
walk it again,
when,
but at
Let
some
me ask
point
you-
you can't argue with
let
him.
me ask this question. When did you observe or hear the vehicle honking? At which
They're
part in this
helping
video?
him.
At no point in this video do I hear the horn honking.
But you did in fact hear the vehicle honking.
Yes.
Do you remember what you were generally doing when you heard the vehicle honking?
Making my way to the north side of Main Street to get the vehicle to stop.
So that would be when you were sprinting over to the white pickup truck.
Correct.
That's when you heard the vehicle honking.
Sometime in between there, yes.
And you heard it multiple times.
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, a honking horn from a vehicle would indicate trying to alert people to its presence, correct?
There are several reasons why a vehicle would honk the horn.
Would you honk your vehicle to alert people to your presence?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
It's not relevant, sustained.
You said it would be multiple reasons that a vehicle will honk its horn. Would it be fair to say that one of those reasons would be to alert?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled, he may answer it. You may finish your question, but
Would it be fair to ask that that would be to alert the many people that we can see in this video right now to the presence of the vehicle approaching?
Yes.
Please tell me you're done. It should really stop there.
Officer Butcher, I see you in a uniform today. Would it be fair to ask that you would be on duty right now if not called to testify?
hold on, Mr. Brooks, before we move on to a next topic, you had asked it to be paused. I trust you don't want anything further from this video published to the jury at this time.
Not at this time.
All right, Madam Clerk may take it down. My apologies for the interruption.
That's okay.
Go ahead, ask your question again.
Would it be fair to say that if you weren't here to testify this morning, you would be on duty?
No, I would not be.
So this would be an off day?
I'm currently on vacation, yes.
Do you
Man,
normally
yeah.
wear your uniform on vacation?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
He's on the stand speaking from the... He's on the stand speaking as an officer, though.
He may answer.
Only if I have something related to police activity or duty.
Do you feel that it was necessary to wear your uniform in court today?
Objection,
Grounds.
argumentative.
Sustained. Next question.
I told you
Are
he was
you a party
gonna...
to this matter in any way?
He's gonna try. I know.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. It's not relevant.
Do you have a claim in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you read the complaint in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Not relevant. Sustained.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Can you testify on who called you to testify? Who subpoenaed you to testify here this morning?
I believe it was the state of Wisconsin.
So the state of Wisconsin would be the plaintiff in this matter, to your knowledge?
Objection, Your Honor.
Grounds.
This question is irrelevant.
Sustained. It's not relevant, sir. Sustained. Next
I think it
question.
holds relevant. Who
Can
called
we
you
just
to
go
testify.
ahead and like
You
cut
already
him
answered.
off?
So
906.
you've had interactions
Forgot
with
what
the
it's
state of
called.
Wisconsin?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant and vague.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Can you testify if the state of Wisconsin is a living human being or an entity?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
So you in fact don't have a claim in this matter, correct?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
The judge didn't even answer.
Sustained.
You are aware that all police departments are funded by the state of Wisconsin, are you not?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
And inaccurate.
Grounds.
Sustained.
If that's an inaccurate statement, then who pays you?
Objection to
Grounds.
relevance.
Overruled. He may answer. I assume you mean who pays him his salary.
Correct.
He may answer.
Be the city of Waukesha.
Is the city of Waukesha in the state of Wisconsin?
Yes.
Is the city of Waukesha the plaintiff in this case?
No.
Have you ever, how long have you known the plaintiff in this case? in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
So to the best of your knowledge, you've never even had any interaction with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained. Mr. Brooks, under 906.11, if you need to move on to a new topic of cross-exam, otherwise I will declare the cross-exam opportunity closed.
90611. That's what it's called.
At any time when the vehicle passed you, did you hear the vehicle honk?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Is
So
it
we
fair
know-
to say that in the video clip that we were just shown, no one was struck?
Correct.
Would it also be fair to say that in the video we just saw, the vehicle did not attempt to strike anyone?
Objection. Speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained. Calls for speculation on the part of the vehicle operator.
We can clearly see in the video that no one was attempted to be struck. How is that not relevant?
The jury will disregard the last statement made by Mr. Brooks as he may not testify at this point in time.
I was going to say, so we basically see now the range of his questions. So it goes from where you paid to do this to did you hear the horn honking? So that's pretty much the only two tricks he has up his sleeve at the moment. I don't think he has a third. I'm just saying. I don't
Next
think he
question,
does.
And just for the record, I don't.
I'm really
see
hoping.
being called that man, Your Honor.
And I'm really
Next
hoping the
question,
90611 comes into effect. That she just ends it, you know. I don't even know how to say that. The 90611 goes into effect.
Is it fair to say that by the video footage, and to the best of your knowledge, no one was struck before the vehicle approached your presence?
Objection,
Grounds.
asked and answered.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained. Next question.
I didn't answer the question.
The witness did.
That was weird.
To the best of your knowledge, at that point where you observed the vehicle, to your knowledge, no one had been struck at that point.
Correct.
And for the record, you have no filed claim in this matter whatsoever.
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Were you injured in any way during this matter?
No.
No further questions.
You redirect.
Just very briefly,
Nice.
please, Madam Clerk, put back up number 17.
I hope she just, whatever he was trying to do, she just
And
dispels all
as
of
it's
it.
being displayed right now, we are paused at the 33-second mark. Officer Buttrin, can you clearly see north on Buckley Street from this vantage point, sir?
Yes, I can.
You see one plastic barricade obstructing travel to go northbound on Buckley Street at that location, sir?
Objection. You can clearly see officers there
You're
too.
testifying.
Jury will disregard at least the attempt to testify by Mr. Brooks. Your objection is noted, it's overruled. He may answer the question.
Yes, there's at least one barricade visible there.
Okay. And I am going to ask the exhibit be replayed in its entirety with no one talking so we can all listen to hear if the horn is honking. So, Ms. Gussie, please play it again from the beginning.
Permission granted.
Thank you.
No horn. I hear absolutely nothing.
Exhibit 17 has been played in full. Officer Buttrin, at any point were you able to hear the horn honking in that video, sir?
No, I was not.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
He's so
All right,
disappointed.
this will be a good stopping point for
Best
our
part.
mid-morning break. We'll take a 15-minute break. All rise for the jury, please. All right, then we are back on. The record appearances are as they were before. State may call its next, well, actually, we'll bring the jury in, and then you may call its next witness. Seem to like to want to do that these days. All right, have the jury brought back out, please.
I don't think Darrell's going to stand this time.
We still have yet to address the subject matter jurisdiction. Would that be addressed at some point?
Mr. Brooks, that's a frivolous matter. We've already
Look,
addressed
he's not
that. I
standing.
direct your attention to the Beneby decision, United States versus Beneby, found at 654 F 3rd 753. So I have addressed it.
Look, he's upset now that his line of questions didn't work and the judge didn't help him as much as he wanted, so now he's being non-cooperative. He's looking for problem. He's looking for reasons now to interrupt.
Is that a judicial determination, Your Honor? That you want to address the subject matter jurisdiction?
She literally
Record
just.
stands, Mr. Brooks.
It's no point. It's no point. It's no point.
Would a verified statement of particulars by affidavit be addressed, Your Honor?
All rise.
Is that a tacit agreement, Your Honor?
He's just throwing out words, man. Like, none of this carries any weight, what he's saying.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Attorney Upper, the state may call its next witness.
Thank you. The state will call Officer Schneider.
Okay. Let's see what Officer Schneider has to say. I'm not sure if this is the officer that shot at him.
Officer, if you would please make your way to the witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
I do want to hear from them because it's going to be pretty interesting to see how he reacts to questioning them.
I do.
I'd imagine
Thank
he'll
you.
act
Please
like they
have a
did
seat.
something wrong shooting at him for killing people. So
First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record, and then spell each.
Okay. My name is Sonia Schneider. Sonia is Sonia. Schneider is Schneider.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Officer Schneider, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
How long have you worked in law enforcement?
A little over 3 years now.
And were you working on the date of November 20, 2021? I'm sorry, November 21, 2021.
I was.
What were your duties that day?
My duties were to secure the parade route and then provide traffic and pedestrian control.
Were you assigned to a specific location?
Yes, I was to be the intersection of East Main Street and Northeast Avenue.
And was that your post throughout the entire event?
It was.
Do you remember about what time you arrived at that location?
I believe it was around 3 p.m.
Okay. And when you got there, what were your responsibilities? Or what did you do?
We closed down traffic from Buckley to Northeast and put up barricades.
Okay. And were you dressed in a police uniform that day?
I was dressed as I am right now.
And did you also have on a fluorescent vest?
I did.
Okay. And that lettering on that vest read police?
Yes.
Okay. At some point during the parade, was your attention drawn to a vehicle described as a red SUV?
It was.
How was your attention drawn to that vehicle?
Well, initially, we heard a call come out in the area of Frame Park about a potential man-knife fight. And then shortly after, I heard radio traffic about a vehicle going through the barricades or past the barricades.
What action, if any, did you take?
I was standing next to Officer Buttrin. He began to move forward, and as I observed the red SUV coming towards Officer Buttrin and not stopping, I ran forward to also try to intercept the vehicle.
What did you do?
I positioned myself right in front of the SUV for about a moment, and tried to direct the vehicle off to Buckley, which would be to the right of the roadway.
Okay. And you said you positioned yourself right in front of the vehicle, is that right?
Yes.
So, did you go out into the roadway itself?
I stood directly in the path of the SUV, which
Okay.
was the entire right lane or north side of the street.
Okay. And did you say anything or gesture in any fashion to the vehicle?
I was just gesturing with my hands to try to get the driver to observe me in the street.
All right. Do you remember
Just-
saying anything?
Sorry, just
Yes.
for the record, the witness has put both of her hands up with the palms facing out about between waist high and chest high in a stop motion. Go ahead.
Do you remember saying anything?
I don't recall saying anything.
Now, you said your intention was to try and direct the vehicle off onto Buckley Street.
It was.
Was that a possibility from where the vehicle was located when you first saw it?
It was. The vehicle had time to slow down and make that turn.
Okay. And you said you were facing the vehicle head on, correct?
What are these facial expressions?
I believe, if not exactly head on, at least, to the side where most of the front of my body would be facing it.
Okay. So you could see it coming, in other words.
Very clearly.
And you could see, because you were able to face the vehicle head on, you were able to see that at some point you needed to step out of the way so you yourself were not struck. Is that fair to say?
Objection. Being the witness.
Sustained, please rephrase.
As you stood in the middle of the road, facing the vehicle,
Even
did
he
you stay in
seems
that
surprised.
position also?
I did not. I was very concerned the car was going to hit me.
So what did you do?
I jumped out of the way.
Did you make any efforts to interact with the vehicle in any way?
I believe that I had hit out at the car.
Okay. Were you able to see the driver of the car?
I was.
What did you observe about the driver of the car?
It looked to be an African American male with brown eyes and brown hair.
Did the driver of the SUV react to your presence in any way?
When I observed the driver, he had no expression on his face and he was looking straight ahead as if he was looking straight through me.
You know his question that he's about to ask is going to be, if the car was moving, how were you able to see the color of the eyes and all this stuff?
And that never changed?
No.
We already know what's about to
Did
happen.
the driver
here.
of the SUV follow your direction?
I'm sure
and
you guys know
leave
as
the
well.
parade route at Buckley?
No, he did not. As a matter of fact, he appeared to speed up.
Are you able to estimate speeds at this location?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
I would estimate the speed to be anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour.
Were you able to see how many people were inside the SUV as it went by you?
I couldn't see the back seat clearly, but I observed only one person in the front of the vehicle.
Okay. And that was the driver, correct?
Correct.
That you just described for us earlier.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to show you an item that's been marked and received as Exhibit 17. And we'll put it up on the screen in front of you first so you can take a look at it, see if you recognize it. So, for the record, we've played about the first 5 seconds or 6 seconds of the video. Do you recognize this video, Officer Schneider?
I do.
Do you see yourself in this video?
Yes.
And do you believe this is a true and accurate representation of your actions on that day?
Yes.
Okay. Permission to publish 17, Your Honor?
Permission granted, it's previously been received.
So if you could please point out for the jury your location in Exhibit 17. You can circle on the screen if you want it to touch screen.
This is me.
And next to you?
That's
To your
Officer.
right?
That's Officer Buttran. to my
Okay.
right.
At this point, what are you and Officer Buttran doing?
We were, again, providing that traffic and pedestrian control for the intersection.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and play this clip. It's 37 seconds long, and we'll just play it through, and then we can stop and ask questions if we need to, okay?
And you'll see in some ways it's got even more evidence behind it. So let me ask you this. Who needs cars? And what exactly is it good for? Well, first of all, let's take a quick peek at what a coenzyme is. A coenzyme is any substance in the body that's... There's a car going westbound. Which a chemical reaction. The brake goes on. A respect. On your skate, last meal, I couldn't stop it. It's going westbound. The key word, the energy that supplies your brain, your heart, your liver, your kidney.
Every time I see that, like, it's
Officer
it's
Schneider,
more
is that
shocking each
consistent with your
time.
recollection of the events?
It is.
I saw in exhibit
Like, it seemed like he was going like 40 to 50 miles per hour. Pretty much like she said. She said 30 to 40 miles per hour.
17, at one point you appeared to leave your post on the south side of the road and run into the road. Is that what happened?
Correct.
And the vehicle went past you then?
It did.
The excuse me, at that point, Officer Schneider, did you hear the vehicle honking its horn at all?
I never heard any honking.
Never at any point?
Never at any point.
Okay. I'd also like to show exhibit number 18, so same thing, we're going to preview it for you first before we show it for the jury. Okay?
I knew he wasn't gonna like that when she said she didn't hear honking. Like,
so for the record, we've shown about the first 2 or 3 seconds of that clip to Officer Schneider. Officer Schneider, is exhibit 18 a true and accurate representation of your actions involving the red SUV on 11/21 of 21?
It is.
Move to admit and permission to publish 18.
Any position, Mr. Brooks?
Objection. What's the relevancy of the video?
The objection is noted, it's overruled, and exhibit 18 is received, permission to publish is granted.
I want to see if his questions are gonna be more aggressive since she's a female. Cause you know what I said in the
1
previous
second.
videos.
I want to see the counter in the corner. Can you close that? Noted. Thank you. So for the record, this clip is 11 seconds in length. Officer Schneider, can you see yourself in this video at this point?
Yes.
Can you please circle yourself so the jury knows what to watch for?
Oh, right over there.
Okay. And please clear the screen. All right, we're going to play this video in its entirety
Oh
now.
man.
Oh my God! What the? Come here!
Again, is that the moment where you ran up to the SUV and tried to stop it?
It was.
Okay. After the SUV had gone by you, at some point, were you aware that individuals further down to your west had been struck by the SUV?
Yeah, there was what I would call screaming on the radio.
Police radio.
Correct.
Okay. And you didn't see the SUV actually strike anybody, correct?
I did not see that.
When you heard the screaming and heard of the report of problems to your west, what did you do?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Initially, I was just trying to, I didn't know if there was going to be another vehicle coming because we didn't know what was going on. So I was trying to get people out of the roadway, and as soon as I heard the screaming on the radio, I began making my way downtown.
Did you encounter any people with injuries?
I did. I was stopped by numerous people who said that their children had potentially been nicked. The worst one was a adolescent female that was laying in the road with her family around her.
Do you know the first name of that adolescent female?
Jessica
Objection,
Lynn.
irrelevant.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, your answer may have been blocked by Mr. Brooks' objection, so please repeat it.
Objection. I do not consent to that name, nor am I that person.
I don't know why this made me like extra mad just now. But her asking what was the name of the child that was struck and him saying irrelevant, objection. Like this, I didn't plan on like getting this mad when start like doing this reaction to this one, because I thought I got a lot of that out of my system, but like, yo, screw this dude.
Noted. You may answer.
It's just
Jesselyn.
Do you know which group or unit in the parade she was with?
keeps sinking
She
lower
was
and
in a
lower and
dance
lower and
squad.
lower
Okay.
every
Did you attempt to
time.
render aid to Jesselyn?
I did.
Were her injuries significant?
They were.
At some point, did you go further westbound on Main Street and try and tend to more individuals?
I walked towards the direction of Mountaintop Coffee, and I was directed to stand guard over one of the deceased.
Do you know the name of that person?
I believed it was Virginia, but I learned later that she was misidentified.
Okay. Who was it that you were standing guard over?
Overruled.
I never inquired the true name of the individual that I ended up being by.
Could you tell which group or unit in the parade that deceased person was associated with?
Overruled.
She was one of the dancing grannies.
And what would be the purpose in having you stand by with a person who had suffered fatal injuries?
To preserve the scene and relieve a community service officer who was standing there initially.
Okay. Thank you, Officer Schneider. I don't have any questions beyond that.
Thank you. Any cross, Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Oh, I do not want to hear from this
Officer
guy.
Schneider,
Go ahead, get it going.
it would be fair to say from the video footage that was shown that you were standing directly next to Officer Butchern. Is that correct?
That is correct.
For any reason, would you have, being that you were so close next to him, not heard the same things that he heard?
Objection, I think that calls for
Grounds.
speculation.
Grounds.
Calls for speculation. It's sustained. Next question.
How long before you saw the approaching vehicle?
I heard radio traffic about it going past the barricades, and I would say it was a couple seconds later that we saw it coming down the street.
Did you observe anyone being struck at that time?
I did not.
Did you observe anyone being struck after the vehicle passed you?
I did not.
Would it be fair to say from the video footage that was shown that the vehicle passed you in maybe a second, if that?
A second to 2 seconds. Yes.
Do you think that would be enough time to get a clear description of who was driving the vehicle?
Yes, I do.
Here we go.
And why do you believe that?
Because I saw the driver very clearly.
You saw the driver very clearly in 1 second.
Yes, sir.
And do you recall if the driver had hair?
I do.
Do you recall if the driver was wearing a hat?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall anything that the driver may have been wearing?
No, I don't.
Do you recall seeing anyone in the back seat?
I couldn't see the back seat from my position.
Why could you not see the back seat?
She just said from her position.
Because there's front seats in the way.
Were there any tinting to the vehicle that you saw?
That's a good
Not that
answer.
I saw.
So you saw no tinted windows at all on the vehicle?
I do not recall seeing tinted windows.
Would it be fair to say from the video that there was a barricade set up at the cross street of Buckley?
Yes.
Would it be also fair to say that you couldn't turn down Buckley Street because of the barricade?
The street was barricaded.
Could you make a turn down the street that was barricaded?
You could make a turn, but it was barricaded.
How can you make a turn on a barricaded street? How would you be able to do that?
If a vehicle were to slow down, the barricade could be moved.
So a vehicle would actually have to stop and then make the turn.
That's correct.
Which is what you should
Were
have
there
done.
any
He's acting as if he wasn't capable, the vehicle, like he wasn't in a position where he could stop. So
law enforcement officers posted at
I
the
think this-
barricade?
This
is a line of
On that
questions that
side of the
sounded
street
better in
near
his
Buckley,
head
we had a reserve
than
officer.
what he's
I
actually
believe.
saying. Sorry, I'm talking over here while she's talking.
That's correct.
Were there any law enforcement officers posted at the barricade?
On that side of the street near Buckley, we had a reserve officer, I believe.
Do you recall if any one of those officers or officer attempted to stop the vehicle?
I couldn't tell you about that.
Was there any report of the officer that was standing at that barricade to stop the vehicle?
Again, I couldn't tell you about that.
So to the best of your knowledge, only you and Officer Butchering attempted to stop the vehicle?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And there were other officers present?
The other individual who was present is not a sworn patrol officer.
Were they law enforcement?
No, they're considered a reserve officer.
Were they wearing any gear that may have identified them as an officer?
I don't recall what that officer or that reserve officer was wearing.
What are these questions? Is he trying to say it's their fault then? That he sped through there with in an SUV?
Can we show Exit 17 again? Or Exhibit 17.
You want it published or just shown to the witness?
I want it shown to the witness.
Permission granted.
Actually, can we show it to the whole court?
Permission granted, it's been received.
Well, before you play it, can you pause it? Before you play it, would it be fair to say that at that intersection that has the red light facing towards the camera, that there is, in fact, someone who appears to be law enforcement standing right there?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Can you,
Rephrase.
would it be fair to say that someone standing at that intersection that appears to be wearing the same police vest attire that you are wearing?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Your Honor, Mr. Brooks
What
can
person is he
touch screen
talking
on
about? I
his
can't-
monitor as well, correct?
Correct. I'm gonna overrule the objection. I think what he was asking is clear enough, so he may answer.
There is an individual on the Buckley side of the intersection wearing a high-res traffic vest.
Is it similar in any way to the vest that you are wearing?
My vision is awful.
It
I'm
appears
just-
to be so, yes.
Oh wait, no, I think I see them. I think he's referring to this person right here. I think, like, my resolution is down, but I think that is somebody with a reflective vest. So
Would it
I
be
think that's
fair
what
to
he's
say
talking
that
about.
the appearance of them wearing the same attire as you, that they would be easily identified as law
I
enforcement?
may be wrong.
I would go so far as to say that they would be at least highly visible to people. Yes.
Would someone who's not in the law enforcement field possibly for any reason mistake them as law enforcement?
Possibly, yes.
What does this have to do with you speeding through?
Can you play it just for just a couple of seconds so we can get a clear look at the individual that I'm referring to?
Exactly how many seconds, Mr. Brooks?
I don't consent to being called that name, but 2. Maybe 2 or 3
Childish.
seconds.
Such a kid, man.
Then pause at the 3-second mark, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Can you go back a second?
Judge, it's not possible to jump back in
1
1-second increments.
Go
We
back
can
to the
either-
beginning, please.
Let me see
Right
who
there.
this person is. Okay, yeah.
Ask your question.
Do you know that individual right there?
I don't recall who that was, no.
Did you see them at any time attempt to stop the vehicle or redirect the vehicle?
I did not observe that myself, no.
You can take the exhibit down.
Throw the whole line of questions in the garbage. I have no idea what this is
Yeah.
supposed to be
Okay,
for.
thank you. You can take it down, man.
Can you put up exhibit 18 for the court?
It's almost like he's trying to say, well, it's the police department's fault, you know, for not stopping me from doing what I did. Like, it seems like that's almost what he's saying, because what is this even
You just want this
have to do with
presented, not
anything?
played at this moment? Just confirming with you.
I'm probably gonna play it too
We'll get it up first.
for the entire court.
For the record, exhibit 18 is on the screens. Do you want it played, Mr. Brooks? Do you have a question at this
Yeah,
point?
I want it played, Your Honor, if I may.
The whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, permission granted.
Pause it right there. Would it be fair to say that that was just a horn that was heard?
No, I don't hear a horn.
You don't hear a horn.
I do not hear a horn.
Can we start that from the beginning?
Sure.
For the record, Mr. Brooks.
When did we have a
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name, Your Honor, nor do I identify by that name.
The defendant has asked the video to be stopped. It was stopped at 4 seconds in. He's requested that it be replayed. Are you going to have the whole thing replayed, or do you want it stopped again at 4 seconds?
Maybe around that same point.
I'll wait till you say stop then.
Okay.
We'll make a record of it. Go ahead.
Oh my God!
Pause it.
What the?
Would it be fair to say
Okay,
that
I actually
that was
heard it
not
that time.
just a horn?
I really thought he was just making this up, but like I hear it in the background, which still,
That was heard on this video.
are you driving through a parade route? Like,
I
what
will
is?
stick with my original answer on that.
So your original answer would be that you did not just hear a horn on this video that was being played.
That's exactly right. She doesn't hear a horn.
And for the record.
And I'm
it
taking
stopped
back what
at
I
6
said. I
seconds.
don't hear a horn either. I don't want to hear a horn. Yeah,
So would it be any reason that anyone else would have heard a horn?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Grounds.
Sustained calls for speculation on the part of this witness.
Did you at any time get a chance to read the report by Officer Butcher, who was standing right next to you during this event?
I did not read his report.
Did you have any conversation with him about what he may have observed or heard that evening?
Can you clarify what you mean?
Did you have any conversation with Officer Butcher about what he may have observed or heard on that evening?
I believe that the evening that later, after everything had calmed down, we had talked for a little bit.
Did he state to you that he had heard a horn beeping at any time during your conversation?
Objection, hearsay, move to strike
Grounds.
question.
Grounds.
Oh. Sustained. Calls for hearsay.
Do you recall what the conversation was about when you talked that evening?
I can't recall specifics, no.
Did you in any way talk about what had happened that evening at the parade?
Yeah, it would be about the parade, but I can't, again, tell you specifics of what we talked about.
You don't recall?
I've already answered that.
But you're sure that you had some talks about what you may have seen?
Objection. Repetitive.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained. Next question, please.
Just so we're clear for the record, from your recollection, would it be fair to say that Officer Buttrin saw the approaching vehicle before you did?
Objection.
Grounds.
Speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained. It calls for speculation on the part of this witness. Next question.
At what point did you see the vehicle? Once it was past Officer Buttrin or before it had passed him?
I saw the vehicle coming from the White Rock location, so it was before the vehicle had even approached Officer Buttrin's location.
Any reason why you didn't move to attempt to stop the vehicle when Officer Buttrin did?
Yes, we oftentimes in our line of work have people, meaning no ill will, just disregard police barricades and other things. So initially I didn't know if the vehicle was being driven by somebody that was just simply distracted or lost or senile. I had no idea.
So it would be fair to say that at the time you had no idea what was going on with the vehicle and why it was there?
At the time, what I knew was that someone had radioed that a car had disregarded our barricades to keep the parade route closed off.
And you heard this on the radio, correct?
On police radio, yes.
So did you hear a car or did you hear an SUV?
I don't recall the exact words that were used. It was a vehicle.
Would it be fair to say that you just said that you heard a car over the radio?
I don't recall the exact words.
Would it be fair to say that it is extremely hard to compare a car with an SUV?
Objection. Argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
I'm not going
Would
to
you
pause
ever
for
mistake
that.
a car in an SUV?
Objection. Argumentative.
Overruled. She may answer.
I think I'm pretty good at knowing the difference.
You know you're not doing too good on your defense when, like, this is the only thing you have. Like, these are the only details that you can argue on. Is it a car or an SUV? It's like, dude, you're trying to defend yourself after doing something really awful. But this is what you want to, like, make sure that she
So when you heard
clarifies.
the radio call, were you expecting a car or an SUV?
I was expecting a vehicle, red in color, to be coming my direction.
Would it be fair to say that you, before, didn't state the color of the vehicle that you were expecting?
I think the question's vague, Your Honor, as
Objection.
to
Grounds.
when she may or may
Grounds.
not.
Mr. Brooks, hold on. Let her state the objection.
Question's vague as to when she may or may not have indicated the color of the car, Your Honor.
Grounds.
I'll sustain the objection. Please rephrase.
Just told you.
It's sustained as to the form of the question.
At any time during the radio report, was there any report of the color of the vehicle, as you say, in the report that you heard over the radio?
The exact color of the vehicle over the radio, I do not recall hearing. I know that I saw a red SUV coming from White Rock.
And here's the thing as well, that information is coming in so quickly and the SUV is still moving, so she has to take the time to process what she's hearing. You know, I'm sure like in law enforcement, you have to like be really good with that, but he's barreling through the parade route going like 40 miles per hour, you know? So I'm sure the SUV arrived at her location like in a matter of seconds. After hearing on the radio that it's coming your way, like, so this isn't, once
So
again,
you
it's just
fair to
not a
say
good
that
argument.
You heard the radio call before you saw the vehicle.
Absolutely, I heard it before I saw it.
So would it be fair to say that you couldn't have known what the color of the vehicle would be and what vehicle was being referred to?
There was only one vehicle on the parade route, from what I saw.
Were there any radio reports that the vehicle had struck anyone at that time that you heard?
No, I didn't hear anyone say that the vehicle had struck anyone.
Was there any reports at that time over the radio that you heard of a description of who may have been driving the vehicle?
No, I don't recall a description coming out over the radio prior to me seeing the vehicle come across my path.
So would it be fair to say that the radio report was pretty vague?
Objection argumentative.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Were there any reports that you know of, rather by radio or from people who were present in your area that you were, that they may have heard honking from the vehicle that approached?
Objection, speculation.
Grounds?
Overruled. The way it was phrased, he asked if she had any information, so she may answer.
I don't have any information about honking.
Can we get a 90611 going here? Because he's stuck on the horn thing again, as he tends to do.
Can you recall about what time you saw the approaching vehicle?
I don't know the exact time, no.
Were you injured in any way by the vehicle?
I was not injured.
So it would be fair to say that you haven't filed a claim in this matter, correct?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds?
Here we go.
Overruled. She may answer.
I have not filed a claim for this.
So it would be also fair to state that you are not an injured party in this matter, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Could you state for the record who subpoenaed you to testify in this matter today?
The state?
And when you say the state, who are you referring to exactly?
The state of Wisconsin?
To the best of your knowledge, being in law enforcement for some time, have you ever had any interaction with the state whatsoever?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant, vague.
Grounds?
Sustained. Next question.
Did you physically talk to the state about testifying here this morning?
Objection,
Grounds?
vague and irrelevant.
Grounds?
Do you mean to ask her if she spoke with the DA's office?
Did she speak to the plaintiff?
These are okay. So I've talked on this so many times. This is the dumbest thing that he asked these line of questions. Do you know the state of Waukesha? Have you ever talked to it? Like, does he think the judge is gonna be like, wow, that's something I never considered. You can go free. Like, what does he think is gonna happen from this line of question? You know, I don't know. That's really all I had to say about it. That's just funny to me, though. It's like, what does he think is going to happen based on this?
Next question.
Everyone's going to, like, open their eyes and make some
How long have
realization.
you known the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Have you read the complaint in this matter? To your recollection?
I have, I believe I've skimmed it over. I haven't read it in its entirety.
Would it be any reason why you didn't read the complaint in its entirety?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Make sure we're
Did you have any idea that you may be called to testify in this matter?
I did see it as a possibility, yes.
So it'd be fair to say that if you knew that it was a possibility that you may be called to testify, would it be fair to say that it would be best to acquire all the knowledge that you can acquire before testifying?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Are you aware that all police departments are funded by the state of Wisconsin?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
If you weren't testifying here this morning, would you be on duty?
Yes, I would be.
Is that why you came in uniform?
Yes, it is.
So it'd be fair to say that right now you're on a clock,
Yes, I am.
being paid by whom?
By the city of Waukesha.
Is the city of Waukesha in the state of Wisconsin?
Yes, it is.
And
Yo, this poor officer. You can see how visibly upset she is that he's insinuating that she's being paid to do what she's doing right now, or that she's being paid to testify against him. And it's messed up. Like, you can see that she's
who
actually
runs the
really
Waukesha Police Department?
not happy with that.
Grounds.
Sustained.
During your attempt to stop the vehicle, do you recall the vehicle trying to strike anyone?
I did not see the vehicle deviating in any way, no.
Do you recall it trying to strike anyone?
She just answered you.
Hasn't answered, Your Honor.
Sustained.
By you saying that you didn't see the vehicle deviate, can you clarify for the record what that means, in your opinion?
When I saw the vehicle coming towards my direction, it was driving in a straight line.
So would it be fair to say that that does not clarify what you mean by deviate?
Objection.
It's argumentative. Sustained.
Yo, did the prosecutor just laugh a little bit?
What you mean by deviate?
Objection.
It's argumentative. Sustained.
She's like, he doesn't. Okay, he
So
doesn't.
that's-
He didn't get that means she didn't. He didn't stray off course, is what she's saying. That's funny though. She had to chuckle at that.
As far as you recall, you didn't see or hear that the vehicle has struck anyone. That'd be fair to say?
That's been asked and answered, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Do you know of any cross streets before you attempted to stop the vehicle that may have been barricaded?
We had barricades up in the area of White Rock Avenue. I wasn't up there at any point in time, so I couldn't give you the exact location of every barricade.
But you do know that there were pretty much barricades throughout the parade route. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, we needed to secure it.
Do you know of any attempts to stop the vehicle before it came to the area that you were in?
Well, I personally observed Officer Buttrin attempt to stop the vehicle.
Do you know of any attempts to stop the vehicle before the vehicle approached your area?
Based on the radio traffic I heard, it sounded like officers had attempted at that time, but I didn't see it, so I couldn't say for certain.
So it would be fair to say that you don't recall.
Objection, that's not
Grounds.
fair to say, Your Honor. It's a
Grounds.
misstatement of her testimony.
Grounds.
Sustain it mischaracterizes the testimony.
So to the best of your knowledge, Officer Buttrin was the first person that you observed attempting to stop the vehicle,
That's correct.
and then yourself,
That is correct.
with no injuries.
Can you clarify, please?
You, Officer Buttrin, or you were not injured in your attempt to stop the vehicle.
I believe that's correct.
You believe that was correct?
I don't recall Buttrin complaining of any injuries, so I couldn't say for certain.
Were you yourself injured?
I have already answered that.
This officer is so annoyed with him. Like he's acting like an annoying little kid playing word chess with people. Not even word chess, it's like word checkers pretty much. I don't know.
You stated that you skimmed through the complaint for this matter. Would that be fair to say?
Objection, asked and answered. We need to move on to a new topic, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Sustained, it's been asked and answered. Need a new topic,
What?
Mr. Brooks, under 90611. I'm directing you to move on.
Love
I'm just trying to
90611.
find out what would be the reason not to read the whole complaint. That's all.
Completely irrelevant, Your Honor.
So, grounds.
There's no question.
Why did he say it like it's a threat?
Did you hear of any incident at Frame Park?
Objection, asked and answered.
I didn't ask this witness.
Overruled, she may answer.
I did answer that earlier in my testimony.
You may answer it again,
Okay.
please.
I heard that there was a man knife call, is how it came out, potentially in Frame Park.
At any point that evening, did you follow up on that report?
I did not.
Do you, to the best of your knowledge, do you know if, are you aware of any officer following up on that report?
The officers that were dispatched to that call, of which I don't recall who they were, would have been in charge of that.
Did you learn any information about a knife being found?
I did not.
To the best of your knowledge, do you recall any domestic dispute coming over the radio?
What point in time?
The evening during the parade. November 21st.
I don't recall specifically the terms domestic being used over the radio in any way, no.
To the best of your knowledge, do you recall a vehicle being found on Maple Street?
Yes, I do recall.
Did you respond there directly, or do you know if, well, let me take that back. Did you respond there directly?
No, I did not.
Do you recall what that report was saying over the radio?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question. It's also beyond the scope of the direct exam. Unless you have information she was involved in that. Mr. Brooks, move on.
And what would you estimate the speed was of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
I don't recall asking the speed.
Uh-oh.
This witness has answered about speed multiple times, but if you want her to state it again, overruled. You may answer.
I said approximately 30 to 40 miles per
To the best of your knowledge, would there be any reason why an officer standing right next to you would not estimate it at that speed?
Objection argumentative.
Grounds.
It's argumentative and it calls for speculation on the part of this witness, so it's sustained.
Do you know of any officers that was in your vicinity that gave a speed estimate of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
No more further questions.
All right, thank you. Any redirect?
Thank you.
Very briefly, Officer Schneider, on cross-examination, you told Mr. Brooks that you saw the driver of the vehicle quite clearly. Do you remember that?
Objection, I do not consent to being called that name, and I would respectfully ask not to be identified with an unknown individual.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Go ahead, Trae.
Do you see the driver of the red SUV in the courtroom here today, Officer Schneider?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. She may answer.
I'd ask Mr. Brooks be directed to remove his mask so that Officer Schneider can identify him, please.
Objection, I never heard an answer to the question.
It has not been answered. Mr. Brooks, please remove your mask. Thank you.
Officer Schneider is the
Nope. Thumbnail time. Right there. I'll come up with something with that.
Thank you.
Officer Schneider is the driver of the red SUV that you've just described for this jury present in this courtroom today.
Objection,
Yes.
hearsay.
Can you please point him out by where he's seated and what he's wearing?
He is seated over here at the table wearing a gray suit.
That's the man you saw driving the red SUV as it sped past you?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
It's
On the
another
issue
positive
of
ID in the
identification
bank.
Only, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, I do.
No, he gets a chance to talk again.
You did state that you saw the driver of the vehicle and the driver had hair, and you stated brown eyes and brown hair, correct?
That is what I said.
Here it goes. How'd you see the eye
You
color?
also stated that you can see somewhat what they was wearing by hat or
That's incorrect. I did not say that.
so you were able to see the driver of the vehicle's entire head.
I was able to see hair, which is what I have said previously.
Would it be fair to say that the alleged defendant that you just identified on the record for the court does not have hair?
You have shaved your head. Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you have not seen the alleged defendant shave his head?
Objection. Relevance.
Brown.
This is so
Give
stupid.
me an answer. I presume you mean the act of.
The act of.
I have not witnessed him actively shaving his head.
So would it be fair to say that, to the best of your knowledge, you do not know, in fact, if the alleged defendant shaved his head?
I am looking at the individual who was driving the SUV, and he now has a shaved head.
There you go.
That doesn't answer the question.
It does.
Next question.
Perfect answer to the question, actually. He don't like that.
And you stated eye color, correct?
Yes.
Can you see the alleged defendant's eye color from where you are sitting?
I cannot.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
May this witness be excused, Your Honor?
She may.
Thank you.
Well, we're gonna take our lunch break now. I have information that the lunch for the jurors will be up in about 10 minutes, so rather than start a witness, just to take a break around that time, we'll take our lunch now. It will be at least an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, but I'd ask the parties be back in an hour. And then also advise the jury and Mike and Pete what time I need them back. All right, thank you, everyone. I'll rise for the jury. I think it's pretty clear. Want to redo, we'll give you, do you have new forms, Madam Clerk? So we can, do you have extras?
Sitting right here,
What was that?
not sitting right here.
Okay. Do you have any extras? I know we've given you a bunch, or do you need new forms?
I really only brought the ones that I was
That's
required
okay.
to turn in
That's
today,
okay.
so.
What we'll do is we'll make sure on the next available break, I'll have my clerk count off how many there are. We'll get them reprinted. I think they keep forms in the clerk's office, and then put the date on, and then you can fill them out again, and then we'll hand them back over to the state. Do you intend these subpoenas to be the equivalent of your witness list, or were you going to file something separately?
I was intending for this to be my witness list. I think that would probably be easier.
Any objection from the state?
No, we understand. I think we've been given fair notice, Your Honor.
Okay.
I do have some other challenges on some of these subpoenas, not, again, that we need to necessarily address right now, but I would like to advise the court and the defendant that he's requested a subpoena for a person identified as Sammy Fleischman. We have learned that Ms. Fleischman has relocated to the state of Texas. Therefore, we will not be able to secure her appearance here at the trial on behalf of Mr. Brooks. If he wishes to make arrangements for transportation for Ms. Fleischman, he may do so himself. Ms. Fleischman, it is my understanding, was the woman who organized the parade, or was one of the people that organized the parade, but that's how she's identified in the reports, and therefore her relevance may or may not be an issue as well.
So why would he want her to testify unless he wanted her to say, like, he probably just wanted her to comment on the barricades and stuff and say, like, if a vehicle came down the street, would it be fair to say they can't see the barricades or something like that?
All right, did you hear the state advise you of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't even begin to try to know how I can do something like that from a jail cell. I'm pretty much broke.
Well, you're advised though, if she's out of state,
Well,
there's other procedures
have
would
her
have to be followed. And, the state is not obligated to make those arrangements since it's an out-of-state witness at this point, okay? Did you hear me say that?
I follow.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in the subpoena list?
I mean, there's others that we have objections to, but I don't know if you want to address that right now, Your Honor.
Well, I'd like to have you put them on the record so that Mr. Brooks knows, and if he wants to respond now, that's fine. Otherwise, we can take it up a little bit later.
The other two would be Erica Patterson and Detective Steve Guth, seeing as they have already testified and were subject to cross-examination. We would request an offer of proof as to what relevant testimony, if any, they may offer. And then there was one of the parents of the victims, Kathleen Darrell. She was not present at the parade. And it's really unknown what type of testimony he would want to elicit from her, so we would be requesting an offer of proof.
Definitely
to
don't
establish
call her
the
in.
relevancy of those.
He's put
witnesses
her
around.
through enough. That's insane.
Do you want to address that now?
Why would
or
you
have an
call her to
opportunity think
testify?
about that and address it perhaps at the end of the day.
It's really nothing to think about. I think it's pretty clear. They are, besides Miss Patterson and Detective Guth, I mean, as far as with them, I think it would be relevant because we have paperwork that was filed by the district attorney about there being no factual basis nor no domestic violence incident on November 20th, which they testified to. I think that that's perjury. So that should be...
Well, you're giving me an argument, I guess, on the relevance of their testimony, sir, but as I recall the testimony, you are the one asking the questions about the 20th. The state dismissed that charge. I granted that request to dismiss it. There's nothing that you are bringing to my attention that I can tell would be perjury, but I don't know if what you're trying to tell me is you'd like to question them about their credibility because that charge, explain to me a little bit further.
It would be a lot to do with credibility and also a few questions that I believe would still be relevant to even the events of the 21st. There's still some relevant things that I feel should be answered, that I feel the jury deserves to know.
Well, I'm going to give him some leeway. He's a pro se defendant. He has a right to call witnesses. These are two witnesses that testified. He did have the opportunity to cross-examine them, but I think it's reasonable for him to want to question them further, and I'll keep them on your witness list and instruct the state to assist as they have already offered. What about this Kathleen Darrell? I know she's on their potential witness list that was filed.
And that...
To correct, I apologize for interrupting, but I did misspeak. She was at the parade, but she cannot testify to anyone being struck or injured by the SUV other than her own children that she learned after the fact. And she cannot identify the driver.
All right, Mr. Brooks?
It's still relevancy there. She was at the parade, and as we just heard right now for the record, that she would be directly affected by it, by her family being victims in the matter. Also, she gave statements and she filed a report.
Yo, I feel like the only reason he wants her to be up here is because she didn't see him, you know? So I feel like that's what he's banking on, is that she can give some kind of testimony that pokes holes in, you know, the eyewitness accounts or whatever. Like, I don't know if that's the angle that he's trying to get at when it comes to, like, trying to get her to come and testify. But it's just screwed up because, like, I hope they didn't approve it. You know, I don't know yet because I haven't seen any further than this. But I hope they
I
don't
don't feel like her
bring her in to
testimony would be
testify.
relevant to the matter.
All right, I'll keep her on the list as well. Anyone else on the list of subpoenas?
No, Your Honor, we'll just await to receive the corrected subpoenas, and then we will endeavor to have them served.
All right, thank you.
Just
Thank you.
one thing real quick, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
And if I'm misspeaking right here, feel free to correct me. You said something to the effect about getting more paperwork in during the lunch hour. What was that referring to?
I
Was that referring to the
believe it was
subpoenas?
referring to a witness list. If you had one, but what you're indicating is you'd like the grouping of subpoenas and the witnesses who are identified to be reflective of your witness list without filing an independent witness list.
Well, I missed this subpoena. It's only one, but I would have to change it because it was filled out in the same way as the other ones. My mistake for missing it. I got a lot of paper.
What's
here.
the name on it?
Catrice Babayis. I don't know. It's spelled.
All right,
I don't want to butcher it.
That's okay. Hand it to the bailiff, and then I'll take a look at it.
It's filled out in the correct. The incorrect, just like the other one. So I would have to essentially change it. But I just wanted that for the record that was lurking in my paperwork.
That's okay. Thank you for providing that.
This man is all giggles today.
The last name is Babiasz.
Yes, we're familiar with that witness. Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, I saw some footage. I saw a video of the 2022 Waukesha parade. It was beautiful. It was
All right, we'll
emotional
add
too. I
that
saw somebody
to the
mention, what happened last year.
List. States still have the originals that I handed over to you.
I do.
All right, why don't we give all of those back to
It was a
Mr.
blessing to see the parade
Brooks,
going again, and
so that he has those.
monsters like this, they don't
Give me
stop.
one in my hand.
The happiness
We'll make sure
and-
he gets new forms. And then if you could just make sure you provide those at the end of the day today, or by the end of the day.
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to fill all those out on a break.
If need be, I'll let you sit here at the end of the day until you get them filled out, so to make sure the state gets them right away. Okay?
I can try to knock out as many as I can during the breaks to make it easier.
We'll
But
give
I'm
you
not
time.
I'm not sure that
We'll give you time. Don't worry about it. All right, anything else from the state?
No, thank you.
Mr. Brooks, anything else from you?
Yes.
Jeez, man.
At this point, I'm probably beating the dead horse, but I just have to state for the record anyway. I would like to direct Your Honor to, I believe it's Milo versus United States, 505 F2D 1026. Are you familiar with that, Your Honor?
Not off the top of my head, but I can pull it up.
And also Hagens versus Levine, 415 US 533. And those cases are being brought up because of the continuing asking of me about the jurisdiction that I've been challenging.
I was watching a lawyer, or an attorney rather, react to some of this stuff, or some of the videos about, just videos about this case in general. And they were mentioning that a lot of these examples he's given, he's mixing like state cases and federal cases. I can't remember what it is he's doing. I think he's like giving federal case examples, when this is a state case, I believe. But I remember somebody saying that. I can't remember if it was oh my goodness, hold on. Hold on. I can't remember if it was Natalie Lawyer chick or it's a few of them I watch, but yeah, somebody was mentioning that he's
I believe they're
starting to
very
mix
relevant
that stuff like.
to this matter.
Could I ask Mr. Brooks to repeat those numbers again?
For both,
Yes, please.
for Milo, I believe it is, or it might be Milo, but Milo.
M-I-L-O?
Milo.
Is it M-I-L-O, the spelling?
MELO.
Oh, I had it right the first time. Okay.
505 F2D 1026. And Higgins versus Levine 415 US
I'm actually gonna look that up.
533.
Anything specific you want to draw my attention to?
Well, there's cases that challenge the jurisdiction, which I've been doing, challenging the jurisdiction. Milo versus United States states once jurisdiction is challenged, the court cannot proceed when it is clearly appears that the court lacks jurisdiction. The court has no authority to reach merits, but rather should dismiss the action.
For the record, Mr. Brooks, the Higgins versus Levine is 415 US 528. Perhaps you're
Well-
drawing my attention to page 533, but the site for the case is 415 US 528.
That could be so. I apologize if I'm stating it wrong.
What about the other?
I believe it's,
Find it.
well, the information I have is 533. That states the law requires proof of jurisdiction to appear on the record of the administrative agency in all administrative proceedings. We have yet to prove the jurisdiction. It has yet to be proven. I've filed a motion. I've stated on the record numerous times. I have yet to get an answer.
And you're specifically referring to the documents you filed on October 3rd.
I've been challenging jurisdiction since the beginning of trial, probably as far back as when I became a pro per defendant myself. Also, you can look at U.S. versus Lopez. You can look at, I think that's from, it may be from 1995.
Do you have a citation?
Just really quick.
But I just wanted to finish that thought about the parade. It was beautiful, and it made me happy to see monsters like this that do something so selfish and just evil didn't stop people from coming out having fun. I even saw people out there with their kids and stuff like that. That really put a smile on my face. And there was I guess like an interview they did with somebody, and they were emotional about it, saying like they mentioned this, and I think a few people were at the parade last year during that tragedy, and they came back out to show their support again. So it was just beautiful, man. Somebody reminded me about it in the comment section, that I went and checked it out. So I did want to touch on that for a little bit. And I saw footage of
I
it.
may
It
have
was
to
beautiful.
find it in my paperwork for the Lopez.
All right, well, you locate that. When you find it, let me know outside the presence of the jury. I'll take your request under advisement. I'll take a look at these cases. I don't believe they're going to change my previous ruling that the issues that you have raised are without merit as previously ruled on. But I'll take a look, and if I feel I need to address it further, I'll give you an opportunity to argue.
I believe it should be addressed. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Then with that, we are still going to continue, Mr. Brooks, and we'll bring the jury out. I presume the state has the next witness available.
Yes.
All right, Madam Clerk.
See, he just handled that with the smallest bit of class. This proves that he is completely aware of what he's doing. You know, not that I had any doubt of that, but that's all the proof I needed right there. He knows exactly what he's doing when he does all that disruptive foolishness. Make sure we're still recording. Okay. But I hope y'all are doing good. Hope you're staying safe for Christmas. If you're traveling, travel safe. Hope y'all get all the gifts and stuff that you want. Just have a good time with family. New Year's is coming up too.
Did you say you thought Lopez was from 1995?
I believe that's the one that it's referring to.
If it's the same case, it's 514 US 549 for the state.
514549.
514 US 549
Thank
from
you.
1995.
Thank you.
All rise.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. State may call its next witness.
Thank you. The state calls Battalion Chief Jim Hawkinson.
Sir, please make your way to the witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing and raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. When you are seated, please state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Jim Hawkinson, Jimhaakenson.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. How are you employed?
I'm employed as a battalion chief shift commander for the city of Waukesha Fire Department.
How long have you held that position?
I've been a battalion chief for 6 years.
How long in total have you worked for the Waukesha Fire Department?
22 years.
Did you have any other type of fire or emergency work before you worked for WFD?
I did. I worked for the city of Pewaukee. I believe I started in 1996.
What kind of things are you responsible for as a battalion chief?
As a battalion chief, I manage the day-to-day operations of an entire shift of firefighters, lieutenants, company officers, those kinds of things.
Could you describe for us in general terms how the Waukesha Fire Department is organized?
Yes, the fire department is organized into 3 separate shifts. These shifts are divided into 5 stations. The stations are strategically located throughout the city to provide response to any area of the city in a very timely fashion. Minimum staffing, meaning the minimum number of people on duty every day, is 26 personnel.
Which of the 5 stations is closest to the downtown Waukesha area?
That would be Station 1.
Okay. Can you describe for us the resources that are available at each of the 5 stations?
There are 5 ambulances and either 3 engines and 2 ladder trucks. So at each station there is a heavy piece of apparatus, an engine or a truck, and an ambulance.
Were you on duty working as a battalion chief on Sunday, November 21st of 2021?
I was.
Were you aware that the Waukesha Christmas Parade was going to be taking place that day?
I was.
In your capacity as a battalion chief for the fire department, were you aware of any preparations that had been underway with your department, knowing that that event was going on?
Yes, we had a unit that participated in the parade. We also received an incident action plan from the police department relative to the parade operations.
Your Honor, Exhibit 1 is a map that's previously been admitted and published. I'd ask to publish that again for everybody.
Permission granted.
Mr. Hawkinson, if you'll direct your attention to the screen in front of you, this is Exhibit 1. Do you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
Are you able to point out for us on this map where Station 1 would be, or is it not on the map?
It is not marked on the map. However, it is at the intersection of Fuller Street and St. Paul Avenue.
Could you, it's a touch screen in front of you, could you just draw a little X where the map, where Station 1 would be if the map were a little bigger?
It would be right there.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you've used a yellow arrow to designate that.
Yeah, so it appears.
Gotcha. Were you at Station 1 that day?
I was.
Okay. At what point did your department first respond to a parade-related call for service on the afternoon of November 21st?
We received an alert at approximately 16:39. That's 4:39 p.m.
What was the nature of that alert?
Initially, it was an unknown problem, but given radio traffic that we had heard, we assumed it to be a vehicle versus pedestrian.
Okay. And what did your department resources do in response to getting that alert?
Everyone immediately assembled and began the response that was dispatched.
Everyone from?
Station 1 at that time.
Okay. And what happened next?
En route, we began to hear additional radio traffic to numerous reports of other people being struck. At that point, the dispatcher asked if I would like to upgrade the alarm, which I did, bringing all 5 stations immediately to the area.
Okay. And let me back up for a minute. Before getting a call about pedestrian vehicle, did your department respond to any other calls for service within the minutes before that call?
Not that I recall. We prepared to respond based on radio traffic we had heard referencing a call in Frame Park.
Okay, and what was the nature of that call in Frame Park?
On the police dispatch, it sounded as though there was some sort of incident with a man and a knife.
Okay, and what did your department do in response to receiving that dispatch?
We began to move towards the apparatus because we knew that Station 1 would be responding to that.
And did anybody from your department get to that call in time?
No, we were never dispatched to it. By the time we got out to the apparatus bay and to the rigs, we could start hearing the radio traffic regarding the vehicles and the pedestrians, and that was occurring on Main Street downtown.
Okay. Now we'll fast forward again to the point where we left off, where you said you had upgraded the call to all 5 stations, right?
That's correct.
What happened next?
We began our response. Getting to the scene was a bit difficult due to the large crowd of personnel fleeing downtown. Our response route took us right up Barstow to Main Street, and we turned right on the main, and that's when we arrived.
At some point, did you or your department become aware that it was going to require more than just your department's resources to respond to this?
Absolutely. As we began to hear more and more reports coming in from officers on scene, we began to realize the scope of this was exceeding our response capabilities. And at that time, I upgraded the alarm to a MABUS box alarm for life safety.
Can you explain for the jury what a MABUS box alarm is?
Right. MABUS is a system called the Mutual Aid Box Alarm System. And in this system, it is structured so that a pre-designated type and amount of resources come at each level. So for example, this box alarm brought an additional 4 ambulances, an engine, a squad, and 3 chiefs.
I'm actually going to take notes on this stuff in my phone right now. We called it a MABUS
In addition to all
box
the other
alarm.
resources that were coming.
And is that where the scope of the response stopped?
Absolutely not. As we got on scene and began to triage patients, determining their level of acuity, and certainly over the almost half mile of the parade route where we found them, we realized quickly that this was going to require additional resources, and we upgraded to the second alarm level. I believe it was 4:52 in the afternoon.
Okay. And what resources came with that second box level?
That would be another 4 ambulances, another 3 chiefs, and another fire engine.
Do you recall what municipalities or other partners that you work with were part of that response?
I would do them a disservice and leave them out for sure. There was a total of 15 municipalities that responded, I believe 23 units in totality.
The Waukesha Christmas Parade, that's an annual event, is that right?
That's correct.
And have you been the shift commander or battalion chief on duty for that event before 2021?
Yes.
Overruled. He may answer. I believe he answered yes. His answer may stand. Just as a reminder, if there's an objection, wait till I rule. Thank you.
Based on your experience in that position, in terms of public attendance, so the number of people attending the event, where does the annual Waukesha Christmas Parade rank on the large public events that are held downtown each year?
It certainly is one of the largest attended, if not the largest. 4th of July is also very well attended as far as parades go.
Your department and the partners that responded in response to your box alarm procedure, you didn't transport every single victim or person who was struck in the parade incident, is that right?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled.
That is correct. We did not transport every person. We transported a total of 24 patients.
Do you know how any other people were transported away from the scene?
I believe
Overruled. He may answer.
there were approximately 49 additional patients transported.
What time did your last ambulance leave the downtown area?
The last patient was transported by ambulance from the scene at approximately 17:35, 5:35 p.m.
I believe that's all the questions I have for this witness.
All right. Do you have any cross-exam?
I do. Did you ever receive, well, first of all, good afternoon, Chief. Did you ever receive any additional information about the man with a knife in Frame Park?
Other than the radio report or the traffic on the radio?
Yeah, other than that.
I did not.
To the best of your knowledge, do you recall that ever being taken care of?
I have no. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As far as, do you know if there were any law enforcement that responded to that radio report?
I am unaware of that. I don't have any knowledge of that.
Do you recall, make sure I get the language of this correct. Do you recall making a report with Officer Wagner?
I do not.
I could be looking at the wrong thing prepared by my. To the best of your knowledge, does is Dan Rulo a firefighter on Ambulance 51?
Dan Rulo is a member of the department. I do not recall if he was working that day or if he was assigned to Ambulance 51 that day.
Do you recall being notified? And I know it's kind of the same question, but it's phrased different in what I'm reading, so I just want to clarify it. Were you notified of a possible stabbing?
Again, the radio traffic I received was an incident possibly involving a knife.
Could you clarify what hot wash is?
A hot wash is a term used to discuss events immediately after they happen. It's typically done after incidents of significance to gather as much information as possible immediately after and to see how everybody's doing.
Did you respond to the parade route yourself?
I responded to the incident on the parade route. That is correct.
When you arrived to the scene, was there still any immediate danger that you recall?
It was difficult to gauge if there was any immediate danger. Radio traffic on the police side indicated that there had been shots fired, and certainly we had a large number of people fleeing. So that would be a tough question to answer.
Did you receive any information about the shots fired, who they may have been fired by?
I did not.
Did you receive any information that someone may have been injured by the shots that were fired?
I did not receive any information regarding that.
Do you recall who were the first arriving units to the scene?
The first arriving units to the scene were myself, Engine 1, and Ambulance 51.